and welcome to the Eddie Mata Show. I got a special guest today from the TV show The Good Doctor, Nicholas Gonzalez. Look at you, you handsome bastard. Oh my God, you get better looking every day. Look at you. I can't wait till tomorrow. How are you, man?
This is my quarantine look, man. I'm doing really well. We're surviving up here, man. How have you been? Are you on the East Coast?
Yeah, I'm in New York City. It's tough. But you know what? I have you on my show, so it feels good. And everybody in New York is going to feel good. How's that?
Can't help you from here. How long have you been in New York?
I've been in New York since 2015. I went to the 2-year conservatory acting school. Graduated from there. So, I still have my apartment in L.A. I just, you know what I do. You know how New Yorkers, we're slick.
Yeah.
So everything good?
Yeah. I mean, we, all things considered, we're doing well. We got our health, and I keep an eye on family. I have my family out in, most of them are in Texas. My sister in Santa Clara. So, I mean, not Santa Clara, Santa Clarita.
Mm-hmm.
So we're, always watching out for each other. A lot of Zoom calls. I'm sure it's like what a lot of people are dealing with. It's some tough times. I think people are just trying to stay sane, stay married.
Stay married. I saw you looking at your wife just now. Stay married.
He's downstairs with our 3-year-old, which makes it very exciting as well. But we're good.
So listen, Nick, I want to turn back the clock just a little bit. I want to know 2000. Well, just a little bit. In 2017 January, ordinary day in Hollywood. Your lifestyle. You work and you get auditions, and when you got the script from The Good Doctor, your agent emailed you and said, "Hey, go audition for this." What were your choices that you made and said, "You know what? I feel connected to this character." Did you feel connected to that character, Dr. Neil Melendez?
Yeah, no. From the beginning, it was something I completely understood. When you're handed a David Shore script, I mean, he's an excellent writer, and you're already expecting a very high level. I was already really excited to read it, but at the same time, I was thinking, how it is. You're like, all right, well, this is going to be a really cool show for somebody, and I'm glad I'm going to get it, a shot at it. But I got to say, the more I looked at it and read it, the character was just someone I completely connected with. It was someone I knew, I understood, and so I knew I was going to knock this out of the park. I knew I was going to walk in there. I was confident, and it's fun when you don't have the attitude of I can't wait to show you what I've worked on kind of thing, or the attitude of what do they want? If they would just tell me, if they could just, I can do anything, just show me what you need. But if you actually go in with a real sincere idea of like, this is what I'd be really excited to do in this role. And this part made that very easy. The lines, everything just lent it to it. This character was brilliant. So I really just kind of went and felt like I lived in the room, as everybody was there, as all the producers were there, Daniel Day Kim right there, which is funny because you recognize him from everything, and you're like, hey. But I felt really in pocket with this character, honestly.
But Nick, you felt comfortable. But here's the thing: 15 years ago, when you were auditioning, did you feel the same way like you did with The Good Doctor?
Well, no. I wish I'd known what I know now.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it I wish I could do again, because there's a bit of ignorance goes a long way. There's a bit of not getting in your own way, of not overthinking something too much, or being too smart about it and being in your head, but living it. And but it took a while to get to a point where, for me, I started off maybe a good 10 maybe or more years of my career always being like, I can do anything. Just show me what, if you only gave me an idea of what you wanted, as opposed to trying to accept the mantle of an artist, if you will, or a performer, and not push that label away and say, okay, this is on me to create the idea. This is on me to create this character, to show a representation of what I would do with this role. But we spend so long with hat in hand, thankful that we have an agent, thankful that someone's giving us an audition, and thankful that you brought me in the room, that we don't say, okay, but I have something to offer here. And whether it's your idea of what you thought the role was going to be like, I'm going to show you something that's either going to change your mind, or you're going to go, that's not for our project, but that was good. And that's what I want them to leave with. Even if I'm not right for it, I still want to be where they're like, wow, that was, a great job.
Nick,
And they'll,
how many days did you have preparation before you had to audition? Like, how many days did you have to
um,
rehearse on your own, to go over it, to make the choices as an actor?
I don't know the specifics. And the unfortunate part is, I wish, even just for my own recollection, I could remember a lot of the steps of not only this audition and things, but even a lot of my career. There's so much that I would love to like run into somebody that could remind me of all the things that have happened. And there have been some great things, and I met some great people. And it was not my whatever. But I will say, I know it wasn't a lot of time because pilot season is crazy. And when I say pilot season is crazy, I mean it gets to the point where, and this is whether you like it or not, and whether you put your foot down and you go, look, I need more prep time with my work. You tell agents, you put that out. It doesn't matter. Sometimes you get the call and they're like, they need to see you tomorrow. They're going a different direction on this. They need you to come in today.
Right.
So you're having 4 a day sometimes, and that's every day. And one pilot season, I even had on a Sunday, which, Saturday used to be your rest time, but now there's been auditions on Saturdays, but then I'd have it on a Sunday. So that was really crazy. So I know for this, I didn't have a lot of time. And on top of everything else, plus it's something you really care about. When you really care about something that's good, you really want to do your best. You really want to go out of your way because, try to capture that, because it was also for a great, production team too,
So
that I was going to step up my game for.
So now here's the thing. An ordinary actor, let's say he's not well established, he auditions his first round in front of a casting director or a casting associate. You went straight to producers and directors. Now you get a call back. Now this is hard, Nick. As an actor, you gotta feel calm because now you do a studio testing, right? And you already know your contract. They negotiate the contract. Do you get overwhelmed? How many people are there for the studio testing? And I'm sure you probably saw well-established actors. You're like, oh, wow, he's there too. Oh, wow, this guy's here too. I know him. How do you feel relaxed? How do you feel calm about that?
Well, the thing is, no one can do you. They can do what they do great. They can do that thing that makes you say, wow, I really love that actor. I saw people coming in for Melendez that were like, ooh, I'd love to see him do this part. And then remember, oh yeah, I'm auditioning for this. So there is that kind of feeling. I'm a fan as well, man. I grew up on TV. I'm a kid of the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
70s, I was a latchkey kid. I was reared by TV and squiggly lines on TV you weren't supposed to watch in the middle of the night. So like it what were we talking about again?
We were talking about as far as when studio testing. Look at you, already forgetting.
So they can't do you. So was it different when I first started? Is my heart beating out of my chest and you're nervous and you want everyone to like you as much? Studio tests were, for those who don't know, you would go into a room full of any number of, I've been in a room of like 20 execs, and they're all like top TV executives of the network or in this case, the studio. Mm-hmm. And they're all there, and you go and you do your audition, read with the casting director and in front of everybody, and then sometimes take adjustments, and then go outside, and then come back in for chemistry with people. And that can be hectic. The process is simplifying a little bit now. They're putting people on tape initially, and then that's being passed around for studio network. But I remember when we did the session and came in, I was nervous because I cared. I really wanted to do well, and I really understood. And it's frustrating. We're like, no, I really know how this needs to be played. I'm there. I'm your guy, but hoping everything goes right,
And then,
and
go ahead.
Really,
but then afterwards, okay, so now how many people were there for the studio testing? Like, how many actors did you have there?
We were in a Coliseum. And we fought to the death, and that was the last one left.
And then now afterwards, it gets even.
Honestly, in the audition room, you're seeing people coming in and out, but there's a list going on, and But when we're for the test thing, I think at that time there were probably only 1 or 2 other people they were considering. But there were hundreds that.
Right.
So many people.
But then here's the thing. Now you got to do the network testing. Now, here it is. This is do or die now, Nick. You got like 50 executives going to watch you. And here it is, Nick. It's do or die. This, as some actors, I'm sure you were thinking, this could change my life. That 3 minutes of an audition, it could change my life. Because this is do or die now, Nick. How do you calm the nerves when it comes to that?
Glad I didn't call you right before it. Well, like I said, this one in particular was an instance where it went on tape and then went to network, so I didn't have to go in front of everybody like it. But I've done that several times, right? And there's been several times along the way where each step would have been, this is that role, or this is an amazing part. So being there a lot, is accepting that you deserve to be there,
right?
For one. And that's the biggest thing that kind of really can elevate you and your confidence, and realizing that, again, you're there, that you can give something very unique that everyone else can't yourself. So the more you kind of interweave that in and really just try to replicate life a little more realistically.
So
Truth.
Did you feel good about after the testing in front of the network? You felt great.
Yeah. Like I said, the network was a tape that was sent.
Oh, okay.
Studio network, then they send it to tape. They do that now instead of assembling everybody as much. But having done that before, I'm saying, I've been through that process, and yeah, it's nail biting. But I felt really good. I felt really good when I left the room, and then as it was going around, and studio all loved it, and then they were passing on to network, and I was the choice, and because the funny thing is, you can be the choice of everybody. Like I heard, I was still David's choice. I was the producer's choices, but you can get right up until the end, and it takes one person.
All it takes is one.
Because maybe you look like one of the other actors who's doing one of the other parts, or they think the guy should be blonde, or there's so many things that have nothing to do with you, and that's what a lot of actors can never get past. They think it's personal, and sometimes it is, but oftentimes it's
personal. Right, I get it. So now, Nick, they selected you. They said, "Hey, you're the guy." Where were you at the time when they called you or emailed you and said, "Nick, you're the guy"?
Oh man, I'm trying to think. I should remember that.
Oh, I'm asking you good ass questions, and you're like,
I know. I warned you ahead of time that I'm not the best, because do you know what was going on at that same time? Was daughter was born. So she was 6 days old when I left to shoot the pilot. So I honestly think I was in heaven with my baby girl, and then I got of a lifetime. So to me, it was probably one of the most epic points in my life. I felt like I was on top of a mountain, kind of thing that you feel like, this is it.
Right.
That you think this is where, and then I'm going to be like this. But that's not the way happiness works. So, that's where I was. You want to ask where I was? That's the point I'm never going to forget in my life. And I still feel filled up like that, to be honest, ever since my daughter. So that's where I was. I think was probably holding a little bit of holding both of my girls.
So now here's the next step. You got the part. So now hopefully you're going to shoot the pilot now, right? You shot the pilot in Vancouver for 3 weeks. Now as an actor, you're thinking, oh my God, I hope this gets picked up, right? 90% of the time, pilots don't get picked up. Okay, where were you at the time when they said, Nick, I got you on that. Hey, where were you at the time when the pilot got picked up? That's what I want to know.
You're going to be so disappointed. I wish I need to call my wife up here and have her standing here next to me.
Oh, she's your spokesperson? You know what? You can bring your wife to tell me this.
She's the only one who remembers. She's my brain.
Well, in doctor terms, she's your cerebral. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
There you go. We'll get into that later on. Okay, so you shoot the pilot for 3 weeks in Vancouver. All right. Next thing you know, the month of May comes, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, you're on, baby. The pilot got picked up. We're going. Right? So now you're excited. What happens now? Now you're like, you and your cast are like, hell yes. Because now you're working. As an actor, you're working. And you and I know it. A lot of actors, you don't know when you're going to work.
Right. And you don't always get to work with great people. But, we said early on, we were sitting there on the soundstage in Burnaby, and we were like, they're never going to let us do this. We're having way too much fun.
Right.
and it seemed like just too good that this isn't going to get picked up. It's just going to be one of those like, man, we did this really cool little thing, but people weren't ready to see it yet. It was about this autistic surgeon, and that isn't what happened. The crazy thing happened, and it got picked up, and I got to work with some incredible people for a good 3 seasons on some stuff that I feel very proud of.
You know, what I learned that you guys opened up September 25th, debuted 2017. You had 15 million viewers, Nick, in the United States watching. I'm not talking about worldwide. Worldwide, you had like 50 million. But I'm just saying, like, in the United States, 15 million right now in major network television, with all the competition we have with Netflix and Hulu and all these streaming services, that's equivalent that in the 90s, it will be like 30 to 50 million in the United States watching. So that's a lot for an our generation. 15 million viewers. Ratings are huge.
It was a real giant. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think people were just kind of ready for some hope, And it's not even the show is not even in the right time, time zone. I mean, not time zone. It's not even in the right time slot.
Right.
It's a show that should, if that aired at 9, it would be crazy. Because all the people that would watch it on the day, because now we watch things later. We want to binge, we watch them. But that was still a show that people wanted to catch. But our audience was asleep by 10, They had to work in the morning, they had kids, and,
Yeah.
So we saw such big numbers in the long run. I mean, 17 million each episode, a lot of times, 50 million, as you said, worldwide. We were given the award of the most watched television drama in the world, and it's mind-boggling, man, because we're all just here in this little soundstage in Burnaby, and these stages, just working together with your friends, having a blast, playing make-believe. It feels, there's so many. You'll respect this, you being a big sports man, is that there were so many times, and again, I've been doing this for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many times when I would turn out wearing a suit, much like the one you just put up there, and what I just kind of thought, and I was like, man, this is it. This is like NFL, this is the major leagues. This is, you're watching everybody that's performing at such a high level, and they're all ready. Their instrument is primed, and we get up there, and it's your chance. And you're not always going to knock it out of the park. You're not always going to resonate either with yourself or with your acting partner or the audience, but you're always you're up there and you're swinging. And it's, I really started to respect it for that, and realized that I didn't always have to leave disappointed, because as an actor, you're never happy with your work if you could have just done this or done that.
Right.
And I'll come home and drive my wife crazy. She's trying to sleep, and I'll be sitting there running lines. She'll go, "What's that?" I go, I'm sorry, she goes, "What, from the scene you already did?" I'm already thinking about it. I'll call up my director and be like, we missed it. What should have happened was maybe this, and I went this way, and I didn't even see this. Oh my God, we missed it. And I'll be like, it's okay. I think there's more there than what you think.
Right.
That went on in your head more than and they try to reassure you, but that's the way it is, So you get 3 good seasons of that, you get 18 episodes the first 2, 20 the last season. It felt good, it felt good.
Yeah, you know what, Nick? I feel like that, once they ordered 18 more episodes, that's a huge relief. You're like, yes, because some shows could get canceled after 2 episodes. You put all that work in, and it's like, sorry, we're going down, pulling the plug. And that hurts, man. And you know what, Nick? And I know you went through a lot of pilots. You booked pilots, you didn't book, but you booked pilots. You're like, yeah, hopefully it gets picked up. No. And it hurts, doesn't it, Nick? I mean,
I gotta say, there's a lot of pilots along the way that I'm so happy it didn't happen.
Right.
So there were times where it was a gift. It really was a gift, and not just because, well, I'm where I am now, and I have my wife and my daughter, but literally that I am so happy those shows didn't go, or that I didn't. There are times when I've been replaced. There are times when you just don't work with what they're trying to put together, or in realizing that the show has more issues than just cast. They even have to change cast after changing the story. It's part of it, and it sucks because this is so closely interwoven with our hopes and dreams. Because being an actor is like, it's like being a gambler in many ways, because you do the best, and you still have to rely on things turning in your favor. I'm by no means the best. I say that because some of the most amazing actors I know hardly work, you
Mm,
know,
yeah.
and that's the difficulty there. So, well,
But Nick, here's my thing. When I watched you on the show a couple of times, I said to myself, I feel like the doctor's language, some people could just shoot lines and just say it, but you really knew what you're talking about, and you got to pronounce those words, because I'm like, huh? What do you say? Like, hold on, I don't know how to, And the hardest thing, Nick, on set, I'll bet you, this is the hardest thing on set. While you're performing surgery, okay? Of course it's make believe, but there's a meaning for that patient that you got to save, and at the same time, you got to listen to your colleagues while you're really performing, because the loved ones are relying on you to get that loved one back to their family. You know what I mean? So how hard was that, Nick? How'd you process? And the words are crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta.
yeah, but what you brought up is one of the best points that a lot of people don't think about, is because what you just described is the doctor's role, right? Not mine specifically, but that's what I'm trying to portray. But
Yeah.
that hit me so many times. I would be, wrist deep in we had an amazing special effects department that would put together everything. So I mean, very realistic sets and props that we were working with. So I would be like, wrist deep in performing, a surgery or trying to look like I am. But for me, it had to make sense. What I was doing had to match what I was talking about and how it would look. And, I was just a stickler for those things. But I would realize and sit there and go, gosh, the audacity that we have as humans that can advance to this level. Not me, again, but like my brother, who's a surgeon, and, other physicians and health professionals we know, you and I know from our days in CrossFit. But like looking at these individuals and what they're able to do, and the complicated system that we are, this human body, the audacity to go in there and alter and save, or, alter someone's fate, that never escaped me. And what never escaped me whenever I was on camera with those were those moments like you talked about. I always felt like I wanted to connect, that this wasn't just some body. This wasn't just a surgery I was doing, but I felt it was important that there was always a kind of a connection there, a connection between not only the patient and how they were doing, but also the patient's wants and what the kind of outcome in surgery they were looking for, and what they could live with and what they couldn't. And that would then inform my surgery decisions, in the story.
Right.
But as the actor, I very much got into that.
But Nick, you got it, because you have to achieve this. And you know what? The way you use your hands, I'm sure you had a consultant on set. Hey, Nick, you pick up the equipment this way, because your hands are the key. And if you do it wrong, Nick, if you're imitating, those real doctors could see that on TV and they'll be like, no.
But everything isn't right either, though, too. And you're right, but at the same time, we get a lot of leeway from a lot of health professionals, because they'll say, wow, a lot of this is pretty close. But there's, the outlandish stuff. Like my character is a cardiothoracic surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
That means I'm doing surgeries right here.
Right.
You can't. And my other hand is down right here, but my stomach. But you're not doing obstetrics. You're not doing neurosurgery. You're not doing all the stuff that Dr. Melendez did. But that's for dramatic purposes, so we don't have 90 actors, in the hospital playing all these different,
Right.
So reasons. So there's leaps that are obviously taken. There's time cuts and things that have to be taken. But beyond that, I've always got a really good feedback from medical professionals saying they feel like, look, we know we're not trying to be sticklers for everything, but what we do, continually get right, we get right. Mm-hmm. So I'll take it.
And what's it like working with this Freddie Highmore kid? Oh my God! Like, when he got the show, he's only 26, but he was on, what's that show with Norman Bates? He kind of wrote a couple of episodes.
And directed.
Huh? And directed.
And a couple, and that was back then. He was like 23 then.
Oh my God! Where'd they find it? And you know what? The way he played. Huh?
We are failures. That's all I can feel like when I'm around this kid. I'm like, we are failures.
Yeah.
Being the human race. He is a different kind of like now I would say a robot, except he's not devoid of any emotion or anything else. I mean, he is one of the sweetest, most sensitive guys you'd meet, but so intelligent and so dedicated to storytelling, and dedicated to the craft, and dedicated to this role, and not only the representation of it, but the telling of the story, and he's looking at it from so many levels, and it's easy for him. He just works on another level. He is genius level for sure.
Nick, do me a favor. I'm getting comments. Raise your audio a little bit. Something's up with your audio.
Sorry, I don't know how to raise it.
Well, then get closer then, I guess. Yeah, there you go.
Getting closer would probably help a little bit.
Yeah, here's my other question, Nick. What I love about this actor, this young kid, he really, his physicality, his body, his voice and speech,
yeah,
it was so good. Like, it's like an autistic kid that really so believable. And I'm like, and those London actors, man, they train like Olympians. They just do it all.
Well, I mean, his training, he grew up on camera.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch Neverland, August Rush, all this. He grew up on camera and did brilliant, job of it. So he's just he's a bit of an anomaly in some ways, man. He just really is a genius.
Nick,
and it's
go ahead.
Sure, though, too. It's not something he lapses into, like, let me do Sean.
Right.
So it's a very thoughtful, growing representation of this character. Like, I see him grow and change representation.
Nick, when you watch the show, you're with your wife, right? And you have a kissing scene with the actress Christina Chang. Does your wife tease you and say, "So, who's a better kisser, her or me?" You know what I mean? Like, does she tease you like that when there's love, intimate scenes?
No, I mean, we have a lot of fun with it, though, because they're really close friends.
Uh-huh.
And we've become really close also with her husband, some. So we all love to, like, hang out. We've gone on vacation together. We all went to Monaco for the television festival.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
When Christina Chong and I were doing our interviews, they were often, like, Cannes together and, take a train and eating and having champagne and sending us photos and stuff. But no, my wife, she's got a jealous streak for sure. But not across the board and with everybody or anything. She didn't get jealous with this. I mean, I think she definitely felt chemistry, but I think we have chemistry even just as friends.
Right.
Christina and I. I've known her for over 15 years.
Oh, 15 years. Wow. That's... Yeah. So, Nick, we all knew what happened. The final episode of season 3, it was very, everybody was heartbroken because, you were dying and you're gone, and a lot of people on Twitter were like crying, "No, bring Melendez back, please, come on," this and that. Did you feel like, because you know what, Nick, you established such a great relationship with the cast, and it's like your family, and it's like then you're gone, but that scene when you were crying, in the hospital, and you're in bed, did it relate to, like, damn, I'm really leaving my family here? You know what I mean? Did that emotion hit right there?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it's there was so much going on, and there was so much goodbye that I was going through as an actor and as a person, as Nicholas, and as my wife and my daughter, all leaving this family that we've been so proud of and created. And I won't say I never thought it was a possibility, because no one really ever felt like they weren't expendable, and I don't say that in the way they treated us willy-nilly. You just had no assurances. And but I will say we were heartbroken. We were heartbroken because we really had established an amazing family. Not just even the cast, but the crew is incredible, and we've created a home here. They moved up here with me, so I'm very fortunate that a lot of actors in my position have to go back and forth from Canada, LA, on the weekends, to be with their family. I got to see my daughter grow up, and I spent her first years of growth with this family and with this show, and it's provided a lot. So yeah, it was sad. All that didn't escape me. And at the same time, what I didn't expect was that I really felt sad about this man dying.
Yeah.
And it's weird, because I think of the way a lot of the audience has responded by being like, I was so surprised the way I'm reacting. I'm like, I can't stop crying. And I mean, he wasn't even a real person, but for some reason I feel like he was. And that's how I felt. I would usually be like, oh, crazy fan, or thank you, but I honestly I understand because that's how I feel, and it was it felt very real to me, and it was a character that I'd spent so long creating, and I felt like I was on the marathon with
Hmm.
it. I felt like I was there for the long haul, so there were things that I felt like I had time to show. You know, there was still somewhere to go with this character, and I had been, and then I kept it there. You know,
Hmm.
and the bummer I feel like he wasn't, fulfilled.
Right.
And that's on because I think he's a really great character, and I think he's an important character. I think it's important for young Latinos out there too to see a man like Dr. Melendez.
You know,
And I'm
Meryl,
sad he's gone.
yeah, Meryl Streep, one of the greatest actors of all time right now. She always said, "Respect your character no matter what."
Is
And
she in that Ghostbusters with
huh?
the all girl cast of Ghostbusters?
Yeah, no, Meryl Streep. Yeah, well, I think her daughter played in one of those films. I don't know, but you're putting me on the spot now, Nick. We're talking about you, but you know.
What did that amazing person say? She's amazing.
But the thing is that you respected your character. You know, I could see how you were really this guy. You know, like you were like, I am Dr. Melendez, you know, and that's what I was like, wow. And you know, Nick, so you know the good doctor's over, but you know this is what I want to brag about you. I love the fact when we met at CrossFit Hollywood. You know, you took me in. You had these get-togethers in the summertime once a week. We had barbecues at your Silver Lake home. You know, you invited a lot of the CrossFit people, and then you had the Christmas parties. And there were times I said, Nick, I need help for an audition. He's like, come on over. You know what I mean? You gave time. You did a celebrity blood drive, which I can't donate blood. I told you I'm gonna throw up if I do that. You know what I mean? But talk to me about that. How did you get involved with the celebrity blood drive? And you've been doing it for a lot of years, right?
I want to say 8 or 9 years. We weren't able to do it the past year, kind of a bit of a tragedy. And I'll tell you a little bit. The buddy who got me into it, I went for another actor who was having a blood drive, Benny Nieves.
Mm-hmm.
See on several things. When I first saw him, he killed it on Empire, the movie with John Leguizamo. New York actor Benny Nieves, really electric. I went to support a blood drive he was doing, and in doing so, met his contact there at Children's Hospital Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
and his name was Raul Gonzalez. And Raul was a leukemia survivor who had now gone on to be the big representative out of the blood collection center. So he was always putting on drives, but he also became the guy who got to know all the families and all the kids that were up in the pediatric unit that were dealing with cancer, and because he'd been through it, he was just kind of a real man of the people, and he always brought in other actors and people to meet the kids and the families, and so it kind of became a little bit of a second home for me. I started he would call me up and be like, hey, there's a kid here, and he'd
Mm-hmm.
give me the whole rundown of the story, and I'd pop in and maybe meet him, talk to the parents. And it just became something where like, you know what, let's get some more people out here to see what's going on. And so we started the celebrity blood drive, and we would fill the blood bank every December, which is a historically low donation time because it's Christmas, and people are busy in December. So we did that, and it was always 2 full days, and always had great turnout with a bunch of celebrity friends and everybody from the community, and we'd have live music
Oh
and
yeah.
arts and crafts for the kids. We had, everybody from like the host of, American Ninja Warrior to
Mm-hmm.
name your favorite actors. We had Grey's Anatomy cast there. It was fun. It was really fun.
Look,
And
look,
it really,
look how vulnerable you are, man. I love the fact that you're so
well, the
vulnerable about it. You know.
reason is that the tragedy behind it is that Raul Gonzalez, who was our big connection there, had died in a boating accident with him and his wife. So it was a real tragedy. It kind of really shook that community, and that, along with the Good Doctor and me moving out of LA,
Mm-hmm.
we haven't done the blood drive, but we want to start it back up once I get back, especially in his honor.
You know, Nick, I have a great story for you. All right, and I'm gonna put this picture up. So you and your sister Maddie, you're 10 years apart, right? I'm gonna put you on the spot now, my man. But it's great. All right, check this out. This is a classic story, man. So, Resurrection Boulevard, you're a serious regular there back in 2003, right? In San Antonio, that's where you're from, there's billboards all over you, and there's a picture of you, all right, Nick, and I'm gonna show this picture right here. Look at that. Look at you back in the days, right? So you go to pick up your sister, and and she's only 14 years old at the time, 15, 14, 15, a freshman at a high school that's all girls school, right? So check this out. I'm gonna put you on the spot right here, right? This is a great story. So you pull in, she's still inside. You come out of your car, and all of a sudden, these teenage girls are like, "Are you that guy in the billboard?" And you're like, "Yeah, humble about it." And then all of a sudden, "Can I have your autograph? Can I have your autograph?" And you're like, "You know what? I actually have a whole bunch of headshots. I don't know. I think you had the premiere there, right? Something like that. You took out your headshots, you signed it, and while you're signing, your sister Madeline comes out. And she's like, "Huh? There's like 50 teenage girls. You're signing autographs."
Got in the car. They had like opened the back door and it piled into the back seat. They were in the front seat. They were surrounding it, and I finally was like, "All right, we were having a premiere there in town, so they'd given me these stacks from the cable company,
right?
The headshots. So I was like, you know what? I know we need some of these for the event, but I'm just going to start. And I just pulled piles over and started signing them for the girls. And it was very sweet.
But you know what Maddie told me? She goes, and the next day, the girls had their binders, and they put your picture in the binder. And they're like, I love that, man. I love that part. And then,
years.
And then she said, he made me the most popular girl the next 3 more years in high school.
She made herself the most popular girl. She's rad, but that was really fun.
You know, you listen, Nick. You had a great career, man, and you know what? You're gonna keep the water running. I know something's gonna happen big after this. You know, I really appreciate you on the show. Is there any questions for me? What you said? Well, I got questions for you, but go ahead.
I was wondering where you were, because I remember when you had gone back to New York for a little bit, but I didn't know how much you were back and forth.
Yeah.
You know, what part of town you in?
I'm in Queens right now, and but I go back and forth, Nick, sometimes, for work, and also checking in my apartment and stuff like that. I still have it there. I just don't want to give it up because the rent is so cheap. If I gave it up, it'd probably be like $2,200 a month. You know what I mean?
And once you give it up, someone's gonna discover the bodies downstairs.
Exactly. But yeah, I went to the conservatory. I felt like I had a weakness in acting. I have an athletic background, and when you have a
We all have weakness in acting.
Huh?
We all have weakness in acting.
That's true, but I just wanted to get better and better. You know what I mean, Nick? I wanted to portray something. I didn't want to be that typical Eddie Mata. Yo, baby, yo, how you doing? You know what I mean? But
love it. But I hear you.
Yeah, you just want to be transformable, and that's what being a great artist is all about.
A big part of it, but being a great artist or being a artist is vulnerability. And much as there's a real love for and a nostalgic feeling of Eddie enters the room and he's larger than life and all that, there's also the Eddie that gets soft around the eyes and gets a little like, when you start telling a sensitive story, and that guy, you can't rob everybody of that guy, because there's a lot of jokes and there's a lot of things to make light of, but we love this guy too.
Well, of course. But the thing is, in my acting school, I broke down, it was a 2-year Meisner technique, and I broke down vulnerability, and I had tears out of nowhere when it happened. And my teacher says, Eddie, when we see that, that's going to get you a lot of work. And what you mentioned about vulnerability, that's really hard to do on screen, Nick. And
vulnerability isn't about tears. It's just in vulnerability,
right.
It's understanding that. No, but what I'm going to say is, it's understanding that a lot of what is life and communication between people is covering up what it's really about. So that's great too. If you're feeling that way, that's the way we feel in life, and that's why Eddie gets bigger sometimes, and you get larger than life, because that's where Eddie sometimes feels comfortable, or he knows how people are regarding him, right? Because he knows the reaction he gets. He knows, okay, that's the pocket I fit in, and people accept this. But for the other Eddie who wants to, share himself, and we are, and that's what's nice to see too, and realizing that, how they say, like, when you ever play drunk, you don't play drunk, you play like the guy who's trying to cover up that he's drunk.
Exactly. Yes.
That's usually doing, you know. So it's remembering there's a lot of guys in how we even communicate with each other, how we put ourselves out in the world. We're usually trying to show the opposite of what how we're actually feeling, you
Well,
know.
yeah. Well, that's what I mean by vulnerability. You don't have to cry, but it's that soft side that when people see that, they're like, whoa, he does have a soft side. And it's the same thing with your character. In the beginning, your character is like, who's this autistic kid trying to tell me how to operate and giving me some advice? There's no way. And then all of a sudden, you become vulnerable to him, and the storyline gets deeper and deeper. And then people are like, wow, he has a good side of him. He's just not that Melendez guy in the beginning. Like,
Yeah, and that vulnerability though also is whatever that vulnerability is also something that it's what you want, you know,
mm-hmm.
and when that becomes naked or that's uncovered, you know, and how you feel about what you want, if you're okay with that being known or if it's something, you know, so there's so many layers, and
But
that's why I
Nick,
really feel like I'm doing it wrong.
no, Nick, you know what? Your experience is your best teacher. LeBron James said it. A lot of greats say that your experience is your best teacher. I'm sure you learned a lot on set every day you come in.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn if you leave yourself open to it. That's for sure.
Well,
Stuff.
Nicholas Gonzalez, baby. The good doctor. You know you're going to see him somewhere else in the future right away. You know it's coming, baby. I know it's coming. Listen, but do me a favor. Just don't forget about me. Can you just acknowledge me when I see you? You know what I mean?
Never forget you, Eddie. Never. Not once, not never.
Hey, Nick, can you actually say this? Who the hell is Eddie Mata? Like, if someone said, yes, it's Eddie Mata, give me that. Who the hell is Eddie Mata?
Give me the question.
I'm like, hey, you ever heard of this guy named Eddie Mata?
Who the hell is Eddie Mata?
You nailed it, baby. One take, Nick, baby. Director's dream come true. Listen, we'll talk later. Cheers. I love you. Tell your family I love them. Everybody, stay safe, please. Wear a mask. Hey, Nick, you know what? My new cologne is Lysol. So what I do before I go out for essential needs, not going out to gather, but I put this on, Nick, and the girls dig it because they feel safe.
But no, they smell that and they know that you have some of that, and none of us can buy that anywhere.
Right, exactly. Nick, we'll talk later, baby. Hey, I'm just gonna hang up right here, but don't go anywhere, right?